guys, it's me, Chris Colley. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Rochester Hills, Michigan. It is Wednesday, and that is my day to come to you live here and share some crafting time. I am in the Rubber Room, which is my in-home studio, and I love it. I love an opportunity to stamp with my friends and get together and craft. It's just a wonderful time for me, and I'm thankful that you're joining us. If you're not here right now and you're catching the replay, please leave a comment and let me know that you're catching the replay. Today, we're going to do some cards from my Rest, Relax, Enjoy class, and this class was a part of the class that I did as my Free with Purchase class last month, and it was designed by Marielle. Marielle is my helper. She's my little right hand, and each quarter she'll be designing a different class for me. So this one, we're going to jump in and get started. This is a standalone stamp set, and I am really a proponent of self-care. So this one, when I saw it in the catalog, it just immediately spoke to me. I think it is just one of those things that it's so nice to give somebody a gift, and a gift of relaxation is even more special. So this is one of the things that we made during the class, and I will share it with you later, but it's the perfect gift. I had a neighbor who was at the pool last week, and she shared some treats with my granddaughters, and so I will be taking this over to her as a thank you. It's just a little box, and it has a little glass container with some lavender buds in it and a little lavender bath bomb in it. So we're going to make that little box in just a few minutes, and I'll share with you how to do that. We're also going to be using the designer tags dies. I have a few little extra pieces in there, but this is a current die in the catalog, and it has like this beautiful butterfly and some flowers and a little kind of sprig over here, in addition to all of these great tags. So let's jump in and get started here. We're also going to be using the Perennial Lavender Designer Series paper, which is also available in the current catalog, and it is gorgeous paper. So let's start off. We are going to, when I packaged for class, I packaged everything in envelopes. So the envelopes contain cut and prepped materials for you. And this one has a crumb cake, 8.5 by 5.5 piece of cardstock. The 8.5 inch side is scored at 4 1/4, and we're just going to fold and burnish on that score line. And then we have this gorgeous piece of designer series paper. Isn't that beautiful? Kind of a lavender color. It's our paper, as always. You guys know it is gorgeous on both sides, but we're going to put this lavender side up. Just going to use some regular snail, and you know it has to be kept at a 90-degree angle in order to work. And I'm just going to make sure my card is opening in the right direction before I put this on there, and it is. So I'm going to give myself about 1/4, maybe 1/2 inch at the bottom. And then I'm going to take this little kind of gingham plaid piece of designer series paper, and I am going to put that, oops, I'm going to put this green paper on first. So isn't it gorgeous? I love how it looks with this paper too, and they all coordinate so nicely. Just absolutely gorgeous. So this is one of my favorite packs of paper. If you guys can't tell, my favorite packs are, they change. Depending on what I'm using, it's my favorite. So I'm going to distress the edge of this one. And you can do this with your finger if you want. I prefer to use some scissors, so I'm just going to open my snips and take that blade. My little scissor charm is, there we go. And I'm just going to put my blade lightly against the edge of my paper. And this does make a little bit of a mess because you're just kind of breaking down the fibers in this designer series paper. And it kind of is giving it a little bit of a boho chic look, if you will. Kind of a distressed. And I'm just going to do it all the way around. So you do want to have some scrap paper under you because you are going to get these little balls, if you can see those there. I'm going to have to take that scissor charm off. It likes to flip around. That actually was one that one of my friends gave me when we were on the incentive trip in Mexico. I love fun scissor charms. Not only do they help me keep track of my snips, but also all of them have a very fond memory behind them. So they always make me smile. Okay, so that's going to be what our little distressed, and you can see on the edge kind of how it looks. And I'm just going to bring it in my little desktop vacuum for 1 second because I don't want those little balls to get into my adhesive and all over it, and they will. So I'm just going to quickly add this. I'm going to put it kind of right in here more towards the left side of my card. And then I'm going to come in with my gingham and put that down. There we go. And then I have this little piece of very vanilla, and I'm going to stamp my sentiment on it in crumb cake. And I'm going to use Rest, Relax, Enjoy. I'm going to get my piece of cardstock nice and straight and hopefully get my words stamped on there nice and straight. There we go. Okay, and now I'm going to be stamping on our designer series paper. I think that is always kind of a fun thing to do. So I'm going to stamp a big jar and a little jar and some lids and get it all out here, right? That kind of looked crooked to me. Okay, so I am going to take my scrap pieces of paper here. And you can see we have die cut some of the cardstock with the little die from the designer tags dies. I'm going to use shaded spruce. If you guys are new to stamping, our ink pads open like a compact. So they have a little notch right here, and you put your thumb in that notch and pull them up and then slide them back. And I am going to start with my large jar on this piece of designer series paper. And you don't have to like really smash down your stamp in your ink pad. It's just kind of a light 2 or 3 taps. If you're going to smash it down, you're going to get ink all in there, and then it will get on your paper. So we're just going to do 3 kind of quick taps on our ink pad. And then I'm going to do both of my lids on this piece of shaded spruce cardstock, still using the shaded spruce ink. Okay. And I'm going to cover this, close this up before I get ink everywhere. And this stamp set, as if you remember, I said is a standalone stamp set. So that means that it does not have coordinating dies with it. So we are going to have to give it just a quick little fancy cut. And their shapes are quickly and easily adaptable to being cut out. There's not a lot of little spaces that you have to get into or anything like that. So, and I don't mind cutting and tying and coloring. Those are all things that I do to relax. When my granddaughters were here last week, we did a lot of coloring. In fact, I got a big roll of paper, it was kind of a crumb cake craft paper, and put it on our kitchen table. And so the girls got to pick out their blends and markers and crayons, and we colored the tablecloth and designed it, and they drew plates where everybody was going to be sitting, and we just had a lot of fun. It saved me like a ton of, I'm usually putting placemats out and then washing them and all of that good stuff. And so I didn't have to take the time to do any of that. We put the paper on the table. We made the paper look fancy and just had a really good time with it. They have ways that they make hearts. And so at one point, one half of the table was hearts. And they put their mom and dad's names in them, their names in them. We just had a lot of fun. I think when you're little, you like coloring more than maybe you do as an adult. But I still like to color, so we had a really, really good time with that. And I also am just trimming out my lids. When I'm trimming, I like to leave just a little bit of an outline. I don't like to trim exactly on my stamp line. I like a little bit of a border around it. I think that kind of helps to make it pop a little bit. I don't know about you guys, but man, we have been getting the rain like crazy. We had Monday, it was a nice day. And so they decided to do some work on the golf course, and they turned our power off in the evening. They waited till evening in the hopes that it would be a little bit cooler than it had been during the day, which was about 80 degrees during the day. So I had to reschedule my Zoom from that until yesterday. And then yesterday we lost our internet in the storm that we had. So it's been kind of a rough few days weather-wise for us here. And today it is rainy again. So it's either like super hot with these pop-up rainstorms, or it's windy and just stormy. So I am going to take my little piece that I have my words on. I'm going to put some adhesive on it, and I'm going to attach my ribbon. Oh, and I'm using that looped ribbon. It has just retired, but it was one of my favorites, so I happen to have a lot of it left. And I'm just going to put that on right at the bottom. Okay. I think there are a couple of you who have these kits, so that along with the tutorial. So this will be a little kind of an in-person refresher for you. And I'm going to put some dimensionals back there. I'm just going to use these. I think I will use the regular ones. We have lots of different dimensionals, different sizes, different thicknesses, different shapes. So I think this is about the height that I want, or the thickness that I want. So I'm just going to put those on there. I'm going to kind of overlap them on my ribbon so that they'll help to keep my ribbon in place. And let's see, your piece of ribbon is going to be a little bit long, so you want to trim that off. I actually find it's easier to trim from the back, but that could be my left-handedness. Here we go. And then we're just going to peel the backs of these off and place our sentiment on our card here. I think I'm going to kind of go about right there. All right, and then I'm going to put my jars down, and I'm also going to put them on dimensionals, but I'm going to use my foam adhesive strips because these are a little bit longer. So our foam adhesive strips come like this, and it's just a package. You get 2 sheets like this of all of these different strips. And you could actually put that as your jar. That would be very, very pretty also. I'm going to go for this one though. So I'm going to put my, your adhesive strips, you can cut any length that you want. So I kind of put mine on there and then cut them. Got a little pop-up here. So bear with me for a second while I try and get rid of that. There we go. And I'm going to get another. And again, I use all of my pieces, even from around the edge of my dimensionals or adhesive sheets, whatever it is there. And I'm going to pop up another little strip and use that for my top, my jar tops or lids, however you want to say that. And that one we got. And here's another jar. When you're stamping on your designer series paper for these jars, it makes them look so soft and so pretty. And you get kind of that feel as if it's one that you maybe have purchased that has kind of a fancy container. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I get caught up in that fancy container, right? It's so pretty, I need to have it. So this kind of gives you that look or that feel. Okay, so I'm taking the backs off all of these foam strips. Some of them like to stick to me. And I think I'll go about there. And I'm going to put my top on. There we go. And before I put this one on, I'm going to put, remember these little sprigs that we had? I'm going to put those in the back here. There we go. I think actually I want to put them on before I put my adhesive strips on. I'm just going to peel that off of there and set it right on my little adhesives. So I'm just going to put some tape, some snail back there, and some snail. That shows you I've been a demonstrator for a really, really long time, because with Stamp and Seal, it was snail probably 15 years ago. So I'm going to do this. All right, that's going to work much better for me. And then they'll kind of look as if they're coming out of the jar as opposed to the back of the jar. All right, so let's get our adhesive back here. I'm going to take that off. I think I already took it off my lid. So I'm going to put my lid on. And because I've put adhesive on the back, it looks like my lid is kind of three-dimensional. I don't know if you can see that, but it's kind of a really cool look to it. And there we go. And I can see it's kind of falling. So I want to add just one more dimensional little piece back there. So I'm just going to cut a tiny one. And I'm going to hide it behind those sprigs. And that's one of the good things about these foam adhesive strips is you can cut the perfect size for your project. There we go. Isn't that pretty, you guys? I just love it. But it needs a little bling, right? So we have some of these little purple dots. They are so pretty. They were part of the Perennial Lavender Suite. So we have some big ones and some little ones, and we're just going to kind of put them around our card. I did bring my little take your pick tool. If you're new to stamping, this is one of your must-have tools. It has this great little piece of putty that comes out, and so it sticks to your little jewels, if you will, and allows you to just kind of pick them up and place them wherever you want them. So I'm just going to put it down and kind of slide it. Put it on top of my little jewel there and slide it right off. I have started using my glass mat, which I absolutely love. And just put a little piece of scrap paper on it. The scrap paper is on there so that you don't get a glare from the glass. I love using it. It's such a great hard surface. I can write on it with my marker and wipe it off. It's just been a really nice addition to my stamping area. So there you go. There is the first card that we did. And we'll move on to the second one. Let me swap out my little baskets here. We did 2 cards and then we did that little box. So for this one, we're going with the Pretty Peacock. Oh, that is a returning color, and it is so, so beautiful. I absolutely adore it. Okay, before we get started, let me see if there's anybody on here with me. Nobody has left a comment yet, so I'll just keep right on going here. We have some Basic Beige. Basic Beige is a new color for us with this catalog. So this is the Basic Beige 3/8 inch bordered ribbon. And I am going to take my Pretty Peacock light blend and I am going to color it. I'm going to give it a little tap, 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 tap. And I'm going to color this ribbon. I'm going to use the brush end. I shake my marker because sometimes they're alcohol inks and sometimes the alcohol separates. And just so I give it a little shake to make sure it's all blended together. We have a nib end and a brush end. And your nib end is just like that, more for writing or coloring. And my brush end is for, I'm going to have to get that off there, big areas. And your caps do fit very tightly. So you have this kind of pointy end there. And what you want to do, I'm going to color these, and I'm going to keep my ribbon or my marker flat. Okay, meaning I don't want to push it down like this because then I'm going to get a very blunt tip to it. My granddaughters got to play with my markers when they were here, my blend. I have a set that they use, and it's a set that I do not use because they are very heavy-handed. And they love Graham's blends, so once they have used them, they're not really ideal for me to use, especially not in a class. But that's okay. I like that they are using my products and crafting with me, so I just want to be sure I'm keeping that blend nice and flat. So I still have that nice pointy end to color with. And then I'm going to go very quickly over the opposite side. And when you'll find when you're coloring your ribbon with your blends that they get a little bit stiff. So I'm going to go back and show you how to soften them again when you're done. So this just takes kind of a quick minute to do there. And then again, I'm just going to flip it and do the other side quickly. I'm going to start this card with coloring my ribbon, just because I want my ribbon to have a few minutes to dry. Probably not necessarily to color both sides of this one, because it is going to cover the card, but I like that there's no kind of beige popping through there. Okay, so let's see what we have here. We have Pretty Peacock cardstock, which is 8.5 by 5.5, 5.5 inch side, or the 8.5 inch side is scored at 4 1/4. So I'm just going to fold it on my score line and burnish it. And then I have some fresh freesia cardstock that I'm going to add to the front of my card. Just going to add it using some Stampin' Seal. And again, at that 90-degree angle so that your adhesive continues to run there. Make sure I have my card opening the right way. I'm going to put this on there in the center. And then I'm going to add this gorgeous paper. Isn't it beautiful paper? I love all of the colors. This one is very calming and relaxing. And that one kind of has more of a little boho chic, if you will, look to it. So I'm going to put this on top. One of the things the girls had a great time with when they were here was my yoga room. Little Dot has a teenage gal that does yoga for the youngsters and beginners. So she had a lot of fun watching that in Graham's yoga room with the mats. She stacked about 4 mats up on top of each other. So that was kind of fun to watch her play in there. Okay, so we're going to just kind of, I'm using Sahara Sand ink, and I'm just going to kind of make a little border or outline around my tag, the bottom and the side of it. All right, and then I'm going to use some Pretty Peacock ink and do some stamping. And this time I'm going to make some little jars and put little lids on them. Okay, so we have this piece of, again, this is basic beige cardstock. Yeah, I think it is basic beige. And we're going to stamp in Pretty Peacock. Now, if you can't get your ink pads open this way by putting your thumb in there and opening it, you can also put both thumbs by these little dots up here and press down, and it will pop right open like that for you. Okay, so I am going to stamp 3 jars. That one I could tell didn't get enough ink on it at the bottom. So I'm just going to cut this one off here. And again, these have to be fancy cut, so I'm not really too worried about where they're going. And I'm going to make 2 small lids. Oh, that one was not very good, was it? I'm going to make 2 small lids. Oh, dang, I'm making this look really hard when it's not. And then I'm going to do one kind of an eyedropper lid. If you like to do the essential oils, this is kind of the lid that I use for my essential oils, is the eyedropper lid. And while I have this out, oh, I managed to get something on that one. So let's, we're we're going to have a fun time cutting these out, you guys. There we go. And I am going to take my sentiment, which says treat yourself. I'm going to put it right up here in the corner. There we go. And that's all of the stamping. So I'm going to close this up so I don't get anything in it. I'm going to bring in my markers and a little bit of Wink of Stella. If you guys are Stampin' Up! Shoppers, the Wink of Stella was gone for a really, really, really long time. And now it is back. So I am super excited about that. I'm going to cut that lid off. And I'm going to cut this lid off. I don't want to color things I don't need to color. So I'm going to come in with my really light peacock. And I'm going to color my lids. And I just want a really light touch on that lid. So I'm just kind of barely touching the tip there. And then I'm going to make my jars fresh freesia. So I'm going to actually use my light fresh freesia. That lid where I colored out is really bothering me. So I'm gonna stamp one more lid. I'm gonna stamp one more lid and color it. And it's perfectly okay to color outside of the line. It just drives me crazy. So I'm gonna do a real quick, there we go, and stay inside the lines. Okay, back to our jars. So I'm going to actually color with my brush tip because we have a lot of space that we want to cover. So I'm going to start at this edge because this is the edge that I want to be a little darker. And then I'm just going to go in and color the whole thing. And I'm going to leave just, there we go. And then I'm going to go back and make parts darker. I'm going to continue with my light blending brush, but just make areas of it a little bit darker. So you do have some really light areas and then some darker ones. And that's the same thing I'm going to do on all three of these. I probably should have colored some of them before we started. I could have colored and cut out some of them, but I'm going to do just like a really light touch while I'm coloring, and then kind of go back in and add a little bit of a shaded area there. And I'm going to do this one. I'm going to kind of cut this guy on the back out. I think I can cut around that. Cut these tops off. And do that. Okay, type them on. Sent them a little bit close together there, but that's okay. Just when I trim this one up, I won't have as much of a trim around it. There we go. Okay, so our coloring is done. And I'm going to come in with my Wink of Stella. And what Wink of Stella does is she adds just a little bit of glimmer or glitz to these jars. So it will make the liquid inside look a little bit shiny. You don't want to add too much, just kind of a light hand with it. It's so pretty. It actually, let's see if you can, before I cut them, see kind of the difference that it makes. See how it's kind of iridescent and shiny, and that one's still flat. So you can kind of decide if that's a look that you want, or if you want to leave it more of a flat matte finish without that sparkle to it. I'm not going to do the lids, just the jars. And now we're going to kind of cut them out. And again, I'm going to use a little bit of a border behind. Just because I think that kind of makes it pop a little bit. I hope wherever you guys are today, it is nice outside. So many people, we've been having so much bad weather with tornadoes and rain and storms, and luckily we've had bad storms, but we have not had tornadoes that we've had to deal with or anything like that. So that has been good. Okay, and I'm going to kind of leave a bigger trim around the edges of this one because I'll hide that behind the other jar. So it won't matter that there's like almost no trim there. We're going to kind of put that one inside the other, or behind the other one. We're going to lay 2 of these flat, and then our third one we're going to kind of pop up right in the middle of the 2 flat ones. All right, and see how easy they are to cut. It really is, they really are shapes that lend themselves. Boy, I might need a little bit more coffee before I try and stick. Actually, I'm gonna go from here to my Creativity Club. Creativity Club, we always do the last Monday of the month, but our electricity was off, so I wasn't able to do it. And then yesterday we had no internet, so I wasn't able to do it. So today we're going to be playing catch up. And then tomorrow, you guys have to be back here at 10 tomorrow because it's my craft along. I have some great cards to share with you. We're going to be using the You Are Beautiful stamp set and bundle. I think it might be just a stamp set, but I actually did a catalog case and made a little box with a really small card in it, and so you don't want to miss that little not really a note card, but maybe like a gift tag card size, and it fits right in this cute little box, and I use the acetate sheet for a lid, so I'm excited about that. And then I have 3 really cool cards. If you're not familiar with the You Are Beautiful stamp set, it is gorgeous. It is mostly sayings. There's a big kind of like spike in it, and then it's mostly words, and they're gorgeous words that are very inspiring, uplifting. There's Bible verses in there, just really a really gorgeous stamp set. And because most of it is sentiment, it really lends itself to showcasing our beautiful designer series paper. And so we're going to do some variations with different papers, and just have a fun little time tomorrow at 10 o'clock. So be sure to come back for that. We have one more little jar here, and then we're done. So I've been busy since the girls left, designing and getting my papers back where they belong and my blends, and there's always a lot of cleanup after they're gone. We put the leaf in the table and had to take that out and get our kitchen back, and we had lots of yard toys this time, sprinkler heads and fun things to run in and all that kind of stuff. So okay, so we are going to, I'm going to soften this ribbon, and I'm just going to take my thumb and put my ribbon on top of my snips, put my thumb on top of my ribbon, and just kind of pull it through. And that will make it nice. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, I'm going to put those out of the way. And then I'm going to come, oh, I should have put this on before I put my paper down. I'm going to come behind my tag, and I'm just going to actually do it with this one, with my smaller piece, because it's not going to go all the way around the card. I'm going to actually snip it off and tuck it behind my tag, and then I'm going to tie a ribbon. So I really wanted to get this behind here. I think I can just kind of, this is one of those things you should never try at home, ladies. So let's get a little glue dot. And I actually am going to put this behind there with a glue dot. Let me get this in my head straight. Okay. I think I got now how it's going to go. All right. So I'm just going to press this under there and down. Oh, good. You can hardly tell I messed that all up. So I'm going to put this, again, down to the back of my tag. I'm going to put my tag up on some dimensionals, I think. So I'm going to get this straight back here. When we did class, I left it flat. I didn't put it on dimensionals, but I think that I'm going to this time around. I'm going to cut this. I'm going to put some Stampin' Seal Plus back here to kind of be sure that it holds that ribbon down. Let's just make sure that's where I want it. Yep, perfect. Okay. So I'm going to bring back in these foam adhesive strips, and I'm going to put those on here. Getting my snips caught under my mat there. Okay, we're going to get that down, and then I'm going to put one right on top of that ribbon. And that's just going to kind of be extra security again to help hold that ribbon behind my tag. And I'm going to put that on my card. Let's get it up there where you guys can see it. Okay, and then I'm going to find that bottle that I want to hide. That's going to be the first one I put on. And this will be the second one. And then my third one, I'm going to, wow, I am just having a hard adhesive time here. Put my adhesive in, and then it flies all over the place. Okay, so I'm going to go in. Remember I said there was one that I wanted to pop up in the front. So I'm going to do a little bit of these. I guess I'll do 2 foam adhesive strips on it. Okay, and I'm going to kind of put this And I just set it there. I did not press it in. Just gonna put it where I want it. And then put the other 2 jars around it. I want to be sure I'm getting a good space before I press anything down. And I can see I'm up a little bit high. So I'm going to go down just a tad. There we go. I think I like that placement. All right, and then we're going to put our jar lids on. And I'm just going to use a little bit of adhesive on those. And again, if you're a green glue person, add that green glue. It's like a multi-purpose adhesive, I think they call it. But I'm going to put 2 jars. It's kind of cool how these lids fit on all of them. Forgot to put adhesive on that one. So they're like interchangeable. You can have that like screw-on lid and then the eyedropper lid, and they all go on the same bottles, which I think is kind of fun. Let's get that on there. And that one, I think I'm going to have to go in with just a little bit more adhesive, a more sticky strip. So I'm going to cut just a little bit more of that foam strip back there. I'm going to put it behind my lid. My lid's a little caving in there. There we go. And I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to tie it in a bow. This ribbon is a little bit wide, so it kind of takes a little manipulating to get it to do exactly what you want, but it makes a really pretty bow. Don't you think that's pretty? I think it's really pretty. And I love the beiges and the whites because you can color them, which gives you a tremendous amount of versatility to one ribbon. Okay, and I'm going to take a little bit of glue dot and put it right behind there. You can see I'm going to need a little more, one more little strip of the adhesive back there so it doesn't stick it down. Oh my gosh, this is coming together so beautifully. Okay, so I have a little adhesive strip that I'm gonna, just because I use that glue dot, it's gonna wanna hold it to the front of my card. So I'm gonna kind of try and, all right, and then we have some of these little purple gems. Now they come in 3 different shades of a purple. So they're a lot of fun. And they match lots of things in this suite. This is one of the most beautiful suites, that Perennial Lavender. I did a whole class with that Perennial Lavender Suite before. Isn't that gorgeous, you guys? How fun is that? I love it. Okay, so now we're down to our box. And Marielle did design this box. We had a bag that we were working with, and it just wasn't working out that I could get enough of those bags, so she made this box, and we did put a little bit of shreddy in there. Just so pretty. So we are going to, I have already cut and stamped this one. So what we did was we had our base, and then our score lines for both the top and the bottom. So we cut the base up to the score lines. And I just did this ahead of time because I knew we would be really short on time after we did our cards. So I'm just going to fold and burnish on all of my score lines. And the top piece is actually an 1/8 bigger than the bottom piece, an 1/8 of an inch, so that it can be scored at a 1/16 of an inch difference, and will just slip nicely over top of our box. Okay, if the top and the bottom were the same size, it wouldn't work unless you were not creasing them in the right spot or folding them really tightly. So I'm just going to go around, score on all these lines. I'm going to be using my Stampin' Seal Plus to tape these down with, just because I want something really sturdy that's going to hold my box together. So after I burnish my score lines, I'm going to turn my box will go like this. I'm going to turn it kind of upside down and put my adhesive on. And then I'm just going to fold my corners in. This box goes together very quickly and easily. For the top, it's important that you miter those edges. For the top more so than the bottom, because you don't want your box top to be too tight to go on. See, and I can tell right now that my box is going to be able to fit right on here. Okay, so I can tell it's going to be a nice snug fit. And I'm going to go in, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put the top part of my box, the piece that I want showing, up. And I'm going to put my adhesive on there. And again, I'm going to use the Stampin' Seal because I want a real nice, strong hold. And then I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to tuck these in all the way around. That one didn't get in there tight. Go. This is one of those packs of papers I would have a hard time deciding which one is my favorite from this pack. And you can tell when you don't get your box right, because you're going to have that little kind of hole there. So you want to be sure you get it folded in. You don't have as much play with the Stampin' Seal Plus as you do with the Stampin' Seal. So you kind of, it's a one-shot chance there. Okay, so we're going to put a little bit of Shreddy in here. And then we can put our little bath bomb in there. Our little, we'll get some more Shreddy. I don't know where my little lavender thing is. There we go. There's my lavender. And we're going to put our top on. Get our Shreddy to stay in there. Come on, Shreddy. Sometimes it's a little tricky, that Shreddy. There we go. There's our box on there. And then I'm going to bring my ribbon in. And I'm going to tie it in a bow. And this will easily slide right off your box. So you don't have to be like a perfect bow tire every single time. You can slide it off and slide it right back on again. And we did make a little tag, again, using that Everyday Details. I'm sorry, the designer tags dies. Kind of Everyday Details on my mind for something else. I think that's what we're going to be using for my class next. So There we go. I am going to just trim these ends up, give them that fancy angle cut, and then I did stamp up my tag and used the Enjoy with one of those little pearls. I'm just going to move this up a tad, and I'm going to attach this to the top of the box with a little glue dot. So it's going to go like that, and then it'll just, that's sort of a faux little tag there, a little string. Okay, how cute is that, you guys? Thanks for dropping by today. I hope you liked that class. Let me see if anybody has any questions after they've popped on. We're going to actually, hi Cindy. You're late to hearing me. That's okay. Thank you for being here. And I hope you enjoyed the part that you did get to see. And I will see you in a couple hours for our Creativity Club Zoom. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. Again, if you're catching the replay, please let me know. Thanks. Bye-bye.